That was Libera with their song Sanctus. Now, since we've already heard a couple of songs, I don't need to tell you that when people say that the Libera sound is the sound of angels, they're onto something. The internationally acclaimed British boys choir is known for their many TV appearances in the UK and the US, as well as many performances, including one at the Kennedy Center Honors. Now, this performance was followed by their participation at the Papal Mass with Pope Benedict XVI at Yankee Stadium during his visit to the United States. Libera is now on their first Canadian tour, and so I'm happy to say that the group's director, Robert Prizeman, is joining me now on the phone on Salt and Light Radio. Robert, welcome to Salt and Light Radio.
Thanks very much, yes.
So congratulations. I first heard about Libera maybe 3 or 4 years ago, and you're doing an amazing work.
Well, that's very kind of you. We just kind of do what we do, really, and it's really wonderful to have it received so warmly, really, across so many different countries.
So can you just give us a little bit of history? How long has the group been in
It was about
existence?
10 years since we first did a Libera album, and the sort of whole concept evolved around then. And then it's kind of gone on from there, really. And so we're on about our 7th or 8th album now, and lots of different sub-releases and things, and many different videos and various other sort of concert tours and things all over the world. It certainly didn't start at that size of activity, but it's sort of grown, really, despite kind of any particular effort to kind of make it a big marketing exercise. I mean, obviously we've got a very supportive record company, but it's kind of happened on its own accord to some extent.
Yeah. So, and you've been involved since the beginning?
Yeah, absolutely, yes. It seemed to be a good idea, a good way to go, really. And I think maybe some of the music you've heard, in a way, kind of typifies it, really, so that some of the music is very original, and it's stuff that we put together ourselves, and it's sort of influenced, quite a lot of it, by the sort of ancient plain song and so forth. And some of it is based on perhaps a classical, well-known piece that happens to work really well vocally, so something like the Sanctus, I think you might have heard, which is based on the famous canon by Pachelbel. So it's our own sort of twist on that, but always with the voices kind of leading. We didn't sort of just think, oh, well, let's get some choir boys together and stick some beats down and, market something as choir boys have gone hip or something. It was never intended for that kind of thing. It was meant to be its own sound.
No, you're right, and it is their own sound. It's very unique. Now, so how does it work? I mean, obviously the children that were singing 10 years ago are not singing today.
No, although some of them are still singing with the sort of broader manifestation of the group, because at home in the UK we do lots of things with the larger group as well, and that would involve some of the older ones. So there isn't a kind of point at which we say, well, your voice has gone low now, so we don't want to see you anymore. That absolutely doesn't happen. And quite a lot of them are still involved with the group anyhow on the staff, and they may be writing the music. Some of them help write, some of them help with the technicality.
So there's a larger Libera community
and all that kind of stuff. So it's quite a big family, really. No, you're right. It isn't the same people, but it's a sort of development and a constant evolution.
So you're auditioning for spots all the time?
Well, every year, really, we have to recruit a certain number of new, talented young ones. So they're going to be about 7 or 8, and some of them won't have sung before at all, really, or indeed even thought about doing anything like it.
Wow.
They don't come to us, as sort of already fully produced choristers with their audition pieces or anything, because they'd be too old by that stage.
Right.
It's that, if anything makes the group work really well, both in terms of music but also in terms of teamwork, it is their homogeneity, really, that you get from them having grown up together.
Right. So are you looking for singers who already, obviously they're talented and they have the voices, or is there some schooling, education that goes with it, training to help them develop
because they're
the
too
voices?
young, really. What you're looking for is a kind of musical intelligence and hopefully a sort of brain and attitude that will make it good for what we do with Libera. I mean, you can hopefully more or less teach anyone to sing adequately, but in the time that we have, given that, they have to really be out performing with us well. This time we've got 3 boys who are 9, so they're actually out with us in Canada now. They joined us only a couple of years ago. So you've got a very short amount of time to do it in. So you need to have a degree of a natural aptitude, really, to have a chance.
Right. Okay, now just a note for anyone tuning in at this time. You're listening to Salt and Light Radio. I'm your host, Pedro Guevara Man. We're speaking with Robert Prizeman. He's the director of the group Libera. Now, can you tell us a little bit about maybe some of the highlights of the work that you've done? Because you've done a lot. But what would have been, I know the Mass with Pope Benedict was probably right up there, but any other highlights?
Oh, wow, yes, that was an extraordinary occasion, that was, really, and it all sort of came about a bit at the last minute, really, and rather wonderful that we were able to sing at that.
Yeah.
I think there's so many different moments, really, and I think if you work with a group like ours, the moments can be large as well as small, and you could name moments like that, or something like the St. Louis Basilica where we performed last year, to a packed audience, or, wonderful, very unique places like the Crystal Cathedral in Los Angeles and so forth. But equally, it might be some very quiet little singing that we do, perhaps one evening when there aren't that many people there, and, something very memorable about it. Or it might be, just a journey and the sort of teamwork and the general sort of friendship that Libera is, really.
Yeah. Now, as director, I guess you're also a little bit of a father figure, mentor. How much of this experience for the boys is it? I mean, it's not just let's get out there and sing and or make recordings, but how much of it is it a life education or maybe even a spiritual education?
Well, I think it probably is to a greater or lesser extent all of those things, but you can't really tell in each case what it will be.
Right.
And for some of them it really will be something that might, it sounds rather dramatic, but it might change their life. For others it might be just something that they did and they really enjoyed, and for a short time, and they never really did it again.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that lots of different sort of seeds are sown by the group. They may be musical, they might be spiritual, they might be to do with teamwork and self-discipline and friendship and all manner of different levels on which it might work. But to actually kind of set out and say, well, this is what we want to do for every child,
right,
would be a bit of a dream, really, to be able to predict exactly how good it. I hope it's always a positive thing for everyone, of course.
Yeah,
but you can't really tell.
Yeah. Okay, so you're in Canada now for the first time, touring in Ontario.
Yes, absolutely.
How come it's taking you 10 years to come to Canada? No, I'm just putting you on.
Well, the whole thing with the touring is, of course, it needs so many things to come together because it's so. I'm sorry to besmirch the conversation really with money, but I mean the thing is it costs so much to travel that many people across the world.
There's 40 boys?
The airfares and all that kind of stuff, and the parents they don't pay. You can't expect the parents to be paying every £1,000 or something every time we go on tour.
Yeah.
They'd be a bit short of money by now. So it's quite difficult. So you have to have all the opportunities for the promotion and the appearances to come into place. But you are right in one way, because the reception we've so far had, and we've only been here a short time, but certainly in terms of ticket sales and so forth, it's been so terrific that we really ought to have been here before, and certainly ought to come again.
Well, hopefully you'll come back again. I do understand that the support that you're getting is obviously not from the audiences, but also from a lot of sponsorship. Like you said, you have to raise funds to pay for airfares and some of the other costs, so you're getting a lot of support from local organizations.
Yes, it's going very well, and people have been very good about that. And of course, obviously, we're always very grateful for any new help that we can have, because it is always a struggle, I'm afraid. But we want to keep trying to bring the music to audiences live, first hand, not just from CDs.
Yes, well, you're doing, like I said, an excellent job. A reminder, there are 5 more performances taking place in Ontario. There's April 17th in Toronto, April 18th in Kitchener.
Yes, that's right. Yes.
April 19th in Chatham.
Yep.
The 22nd of April in Hamilton, and the 24th in Guelph.
Yep, that's right.
So those are all taking place. People can find out more information at your website, Libera.
Yes, absolutely. And that's
Libera.org.uk.
Yep.
So they can find information specific to the tour, but also general information on the group.
Indeed,
or how to purchase the albums or anything that that they might want. So, Robert, it's been a pleasure speaking to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Congratulations again, and I'm actually looking forward to being at one of the concerts.
Oh, I'm glad to see you.
Here now is Libera with their song Wings of a Dove from their Visions album.